Here we are at the Navy Home Hotel in Mae Sai. It's owned by some retired high-ranking officer in the Thai Navy. Chuiwan and Auntie Oi are setting off on an expedition in the wilds of Burma and are getting a rousing send-off from the guards on the bridge leading from the hotel to the main street. The decor of the place has a strong naval theme to it. Mae Sai is the most northern part of Thailand, right on the Burma border. Today, Chuiwan and Oi are about to make the perilous crossing to the duty-free shopping zone. The reason I was here was to renew my free visa on arrival, which expired that day. Back in the good old days, I'd simply slip across the border, give the Burmese government 500 baht, and cross back into Thailand for another 3 months. However, things have changed. I discovered that now I had to go down the road a mile or two to the immigration department, where a pleasant woman in full military regalia fixed up the problem for a mere 1,900 baht, and then told me there was no need to drive all the way to Mae Sai, could have all been done back in Chiang Rai. Anyway, it's a colourful, although somewhat rather noisy town, with lots of interesting and useful things to see and buy, like this essential piece of photographic equipment. How does it work? Can it go on? Would it fit on this camera? But she didn't know, so it looks like the tried and tested selfie stick will be around for a while yet. This knuckle duster could be handy during schoolyard brawls, but what's this? Is it buffalo skin?
Buffalo.
Buffalo skin, is it?
Yes.
And what do you do with it?
เผาไฟ
In the fire?
เผาไฟแล้วก็ทุบ
After this illuminating discussion, we said goodbye to Mae Sai, and along the mountain road to Mae Salong, we discovered that Thailand has embraced tea drinking with gusto. Miles of tea plantations line the countryside. On the outskirts of Mae Salong, a huge mausoleum and temple complex is under construction on top of another mountain. Already the king's mother's ashes are stored here. She has a panoramic view of the town, which is particularly impressive at sunrise and sunset. Mae Salong is like no other part of Thailand, which is due to the influence of its early Chinese settlers. Bright red Chinese lanterns line the streets. It's like another world, and for this reason it is a see before it disappears destination. All over the kingdom, beautiful places are being stuffed up by overdevelopment and exploitation, and this could be the first nail in Mae Salong's coffin. 7-Eleven stores are a blot on the landscape. There are 8,334 7-Eleven stores in Thailand, and every time another one pops up, like some poisonous piece of fungus, it does its bit to help destroy the character of Thai villages, as well as helping to destroy small traditional shops. Sadly, we were forced to patronise this one in order to buy some instant noodles to mix with our leftover chicken dinner at breakfast time. And of course the only people who sold instant noodles at that time of night in Mae Salong was the 7-Eleven shop. Anyway, here's our breakfast. It was so putrid, we had to dump it in the garbage and sit back to enjoy the sunrise with a glass of 7-Eleven orange juice out of a cardboard packet. Anyway, just as we were leaving, a few citizens of Mae Salong trotted past on an early morning outing. It was good to see that some still travel around town on horseback, just like the way Khun Sa, the drug lord, did back in the good old days when he took up residence in the nearby village of Ban Hin Taek in 1964. It was the first Arca village ever established in Thailand. As long as he shared some of his ill-gotten gains from his drug deals with the Thai generals, he was allowed to keep operating in Ban Hin Taek. With all his newfound wealth and power, he set up the Shan United Army, which at its peak was home to 20,000 soldiers, right here in what has now become the Khun Sa Museum. It has been preserved and renovated and is now available for public perusal. He actually had 3 bedrooms, as he was concerned about being assassinated in his sleep and didn't want anyone to know which bedroom he was sleeping in that night. 2 of them are closed to the public, but this one is a fascinating insight into his private life. I was intrigued to discover that he was an enthusiastic home movie maker. I wonder if any of his movies are still around. This old camera is incredible and worthy of a spot in the Pufta Policeman's Movie Museum back in Brisbane. He was a deep thinker and a meticulous planner, and one day, perhaps after a particularly exciting opium-fueled drug trip, he came up with a bold concept to revolutionise the drug trade. He approached the American government and offered to sell them his entire opium harvest for the year 1982. His thinking was that with all the opium in the hands of the government, it could be used to manufacture legitimate medicinal drugs. But the Americans were getting a bit sick of all his antics. The Thai government had suddenly changed hands, as it does on a fairly regular basis, and the new general in charge, along with the DEA and the CIA, decided to kick Khun Sa out of Thailand. So in January 1982, the Thai army, in conjunction with the mighty Thai Air Force, launched an offensive against Khun Sa's base in Ban Hin Taek, dropping a bomb into the middle of the complex. Many days of violent fighting ensued, and eventually the Thai military forced Khun Sa and his troops to retreat back to Burma, and so ended an incredible era in Thai history. While he was unpopular with most of the outside world, he was loved by the local community, who, because of their remoteness, received little in the way of assistance from the Thai government. Khun Sa built a hospital and schools for them. The villagers called him Sa Cha U, which means father. He died in October 26, 2007, but his exploits have been meticulously chronicled and are on display for all to see at the amazing Khun Sa Museum. And here's the mighty Mitsubishi Mirage taking us off on our next destination, the world-famous Wat Rong Kun, or White Temple, in Chiang Rai. It's actually a privately owned art gallery in the style of a Buddhist temple. Entry to the building is via the bridge of the cycle of rebirth over a small lake. Lining the sides of the bridge are hundreds of outstretched hands, symbolising unrestrained greed and desire. When we were there last, the place was full of fascinating works of art. However, a recent fire has forced the closure of the gallery, so we had to admire it from the outside. It's owned by a local wealthy artist from Chiang Rai, who has spent 40 million baht of his own money renovating the temple. He considers the temple to be an offering to Lord Buddha and believes the project will give him everlasting life. We arrived at our next destination in time to watch this local fisherman catching tonight's dinner. The huge lake is ringed with coloured lanterns, which light up at night as we sit at a lakeside restaurant studying the menu and the iPad while waiting for the fresh fish dinner to arrive. There are 48 species of fish living in the lake. This one was delicious, and it was quickly reduced to a pile of bones. There's not much information on the internet about Wat Papu Kon in Udon Thani, which leads me to believe that it's relatively new. It's the home of this amazing reclining Buddha. I estimate that it must have been at least 60 feet long. It's made from tons of solid blocks of Italian marble, which apparently was genuinely imported from Italy. The marble was hauled by truck up a long winding mountain road, where the image is carved and the temple built around it. Nongkai is a wonderful town on the banks of the Mekong River, which forms the borders with Laos. When we arrived, they were busy putting the finishing touches to this huge tableau, featuring twin Nagas, mythical creatures which live in the river. And it was here that we had a bizarre semi-religious experience. After depositing a coin in a bowl, we were blessed and wished a long happy life in a tacky blend of technology and old-time fortune-telling. The machine then directs you to your future, which is printed on a numbered piece of paper. What's your fortune?
You got 15.
What does it say?
Don't know.
What's your fortune say?
I don't know. It's in Thai.
So it was off to the interpreter.
You ask for the lover, you're gonna find, that's gonna be good for you. If you ask for something lost, you're gonna get it back. Ask for the luck, it's the best. If you're sick, you're gonna get better every day. If you are in debt, you're gonna be better. So this card is very good, make you
I'm gonna do it
happy.
again.
But this one, what you need to do, Penny,
I'm checking.
you're going to put the money into the box here.
If Buddha had been buried instead of cremated, he would have been turning in his grave. If he witnessed this cheap and tacky display, he would surely be calling for the awful noise to stop. In Konkan, Auntie Oi caught up with her son Oak, who had given up his wild ways as a drug dealer and become a monk, living in a local temple. Even though Oi is his mother, she had to kneel on the ground in his presence, as no mortal being, especially a woman, can stand higher than a monk. 5 million colourful mosaic tiles and 5 sitting Buddhas make up Wat Pa Sawn Khao. The name means temple on a glass cliff and is set on an 830-metre high peak in Phetchabun. Thankfully, the whole area has been designated as a drone-free zone.